All right, Fantasy Footballers is brought to you by Head & Shoulders and Walmart. NFL fans always love arguing whether is it offense that wins the game or is it defense? You know, I think offense. Head & Shoulders is great offense for your hair.
Andy, you're wrong. Head & Shoulders is great defense for the flakes.
No matter where you fall on the debate, Head & Shoulders will give you 100% flake-free scalp. Find Head & Shoulders on Walmart.com. What's going on, Phoenix?
It's a smoky room.
What's going on?
Who hit the smoke machine? Not
It's
enough if you
intense.
ask me. There's a terrible fairy tale about to happen. I've seen this before.
This is going to be very, very awkward. I know we're kind of on the top of our game right now, but we're stepping away.
Gonna retire. Our comrades, our Indianapolis comrades in the front. Our condolences. 3 hours ago was awesome. Never forget.
Unbelievable evening. Welcome in. We have a great show for you today. Brooks is here.
Oh, Brooksy!
The judge. I thought we had a great show prepared.
I thought we didn't have news to talk about.
I guess we have some news to talk about. Yeah,
Yes.
that's news too.
Oh, the Lamar Miller.
Unbelievable.
No one cares about that anymore. That's an hour and a half ago.
Unbelievable. We've got a great show for you. You guys ready to go? You ready for the mailbag drop?
Oh, they sound ready.
It's good to be home. It's good to be home. I'm
fantastic
counting on the
to be
mailbag
home.
drop right here at home.
This is by far the biggest Phoenix show we've ever had.
And the smokiest.
Oh,
I can see some people. One or two.
I'm glad I brought the inhaler out.
Yes. All right. Brooks, are we ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from pristineauction.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Welcome in. The People's Fantasy Tour concludes tonight.
Yes, it does.
Right here in Phoenix. What's going on? Now we have, last year in Phoenix, we did this show. We brought out some bold predictions. We're doing it again tonight.
Oh, I've got a good one for the top of the show. It's too hot, Mike. There's like, when we throw them out in this show, you think there's no way that this can possibly happen, but it just might.
It just might happen. We normally get right into the quick question, and we have a great one there as well. But I have to hit this button.
Breaking news.
Well,
What?
today is, this show's being recorded on the single busiest draft day of the entire year.
Yeah, good thing everything stays status quo.
Andrew Luck, 29-year-old quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, has retired.
What a world. Yeah.
We're getting some cheers,
Is there anybody?
some booze.
This news broke about an hour before we started this show. Is there anybody in the audience that didn't know until just now?
I'm sorry. Someone's in the back. I got Andrew Luck in the 12th. It was crazy. He just kept dropping. So I snatched him up.
So we updated our ultimate draft kit, and somebody sent me a note, and they screenshotted it, and you see down. All the Colts are down, and they said, "Is there Colts news I don't know about?"
Nope. Just a gut feeling.
Just a gut.
We've got real good intuition.
So we're starting with the breaking news. We'll circle back to the quick question. Let me read you the physical toll on Andrew Luck through 6 years. Torn cartilage in 2 ribs, partially torn abdomen, lacerated kidney, 1 concussion, torn labrum, and then this mysterious calf/teeny tiny bone injury.
New bone.
But this is the most shocking thing to happen in the NFL and in fantasy football in as long as I can remember.
I can't think of another thing that, this close to the season for a player to retire, and not just like a player. This isn't like, it was a journeyman right guard.
Ryan Fitzpatrick
he's
finally hangs them up.
No, this is Andrew Luck. This was, early in the offseason, prior to the calf injuries. The Colts were my Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, how's your tickets looking right now, dude?
I'm gonna. This is a bold
Pivot.
prediction. So a
Pivot.
bold prediction show. I'm going to right now, right here, predict Super Spot. I don't think it comes true. I don't think the Colts win the Super Bowl anymore. Spicy.
Beyond Andrew Luck, who went from not playing in 2017 to comeback player of the year, 39 touchdowns last season, to now retiring, T.Y. Hilton, Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines, Eric Ebron. What happens now?
I think it's pretty rough. In truth, when I updated my rankings, as insane as it is, the only person that even looks like they could be a value for the Colts in my rankings is actually Mr. Jacoby Beef Brisket himself. Jacoby Brissett.
Where's the beef?
There it is. But,
we had to dig through the vaults.
That's old. That's old.
That's real old. Andy, I know we disagree a little bit on the outlook for T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton I now have as in half-point scoring as my wide receiver 27. So he's not irrelevant. He's still going to be a fantasy contributor.
There were like audible moans and groans when you said that.
Yeah, it stinks. You take a guy who had the
Some
potential
from my dynasty team
to be. Oh man, I remember having him.
Yeah,
this
you traded.
offseason.
You traded him to me.
T.Y. Hilton, twice in his illustrious career, has been under the 1,000-yard mark. Once was his rookie season, and once was the year that he played the entire year without Andrew Luck.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good for T.Y. Hilton. He's a player that can lead the league in yardage with a quarterback. We both move Jacoby Brissett to the 20 range at the quarterback position based on what we think he can do. I think he was the best backup in the league, arguably. But you're going from a top 5 quarterback to
A backup.
20 at best, and this is unfortunate. Now, the situation for Jacoby Brissett isn't the same that it was in 2017.
No, it's much better.
Different coaching staff. You've spent most of your
love
offseason.
Frank Reich.
Yeah, you love Frank Reich. And then in 2017, he was pressured on 40% of dropbacks. That's the 6th highest number in the league. So a better offensive line, trying to find a silver lining for somebody, but Marlon Mack's breakout season goes out the window most likely. You're not on the goal line. You're not moving the football.
Marlon Mack is the player that is the most single-handedly he is affected the largest because this is a player who's not the pass-catching back. This is a player who dominated in the games where he was winning. This was a player who, if you look at the game splits, in games where they won by wide margins, Mack dominated because he was running out the clock. He had touchdown opportunities. He is a perfect back for an Andrew Luck-led Colts, and he's not a back that I would believe in as much without him. So, he was almost a my guy. Whew, dodged that bullet.
Well, you should have known. We all knew Andrew Luck was
Right.
going.
That's why I
Everybody
didn't
saw
go
this
with him.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, he's a guy that now is like RB30 for me. I'm not, if you're drafting right now this week, ADP doesn't matter. You need to use the rankings. Like if you've got the Ultimate Draft Kit and our rankings are now updated in that, use those versus ADP as to when should I take Marlon Mack, because none of the ADP is going to make any sense in your home leagues.
Do you expect any of these Colts to drop to the point where they are going to be draft day values?
Look,
I mean, you both moved Hilton lower than I did. I have him
Yes.
like 18 now.
I moved him down. He finished his year with, it was under 1,000, but he was almost there. However, when you look at how he got there, it was 4 huge games, which great. Those 4 weeks were spectacular.
Yeah, you couldn't predict them.
But you had to play him every single week to get those 4 weeks. The one player where I did nothing to his stat projection, there was a player in 2017 who had 108 targets, 80 receptions. That was the man with those baby hands, Jack Doyle.
It makes sense that you would find a way to make this good for Jack Doyle.
I'm just saying, we have
You're saying Jacoby
evidence.
targets smaller-handed men.
Right.
Maybe that's what he's attracted to, or maybe it's that he just is like, crap, right. Jack Doyle, take the ball.
We are going to circle. There'll be ramifications for this Andrew Luck situation that go well beyond this show. We'll talk about it throughout the next couple of weeks and into the season. And
I do want to throw out one quick name. I know it's deeper. It's in a dynasty league. First of all, if you're in a dynasty league, pick up Jacoby Brissett. Don't just let the Andrew Luck owner get him for free. Okay, Foot Clan, make it cost money or get him for yourself. But if you're in a deep league and you got a trash bench, Chad Kelly is like Jacoby Brissett's a very good backup. But Chad Kelly, a name you might not be familiar with, is a great quarterback who I believe has the potential to be a great quarterback, who has been just a terrible human being, let's just say he's had poor decisions.
Sure.
So he's,
So you
want
them to make
frequent poor decisions.
You want them to make the good decision to put him on their dynasty roster.
It's up to you, but take a little peek ski.
All right, we'll circle back to this quick question. Before we get to that, I do want to and give it up for St. Jude.
Woo!
We're very, very proud to be partnering with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital throughout this entire tour. All of our proceeds from this event here in Phoenix are going straight to St. Jude. They've been an incredible partner. You guys know $1 from every Ultimate Draft Kit straight to St. Jude, so appreciate their support. We're proud to be partners. And then we want to thank Pristine Auction. They've sponsored this tour as well, and they've been great partners. We're giving away this autographed David Johnson helmet at the end of this show. And he looked pretty good today.
Yeah, it's looking up.
It's looking good. Did you swing the pendulum back a little bit?
No, I kept him where he was, but he's still top 5.
All right, here's what
6. I don't know.
We're going back to the well on this quick question. We asked it here last year. Best player analogy for 2019. It's that simple. Your best play last year. I compared Sam Bradford to you.
Yeah.
And
you nailed it.
Whoa, hey.
But listen, I respect you. I'm not going back to that well. I'm not going to do that again. And obviously, Joique Bell retired, so I don't have a player comp that fits.
Come on, man. CJ Anderson's still out there.
I compared him to a professional running back. But what's your player analogy, Mike?
All right. I'll set the table here first. How many the guys out? How many are fathers out here? How many dads do we got in the crowd? So most of you also have dads as well. Like that's kind of how it works. But here's the thing.
Yes, you're talking to me.
I haven't hit it yet personally, but there's a day in every father's life where he loses in arm wrestling to his son, and that day you go, oh, you got me this time, son. You tussle his hair. you say how proud you are of the man he's becoming, but in your heart you think, that was once. That was just a one-off. But then it starts to eat you inside. And then jokingly.
What if it's not?
No, but you jokingly, oh, son, we got a rematch because that was garbage. I was on 5 hours of sleep, blah, blah. Let's go. And then you arm wrestle and you lose again. And then you bring up something else. You say, let's race, and you lose the race because once you have lost to your son, you never win again.
You're going in different directions on the aging scale.
As the father, you may say, I just got this awesome new job, and now I'm making way more money than you, but it doesn't matter because you're not going to score more fantasy points. Because your son is James Conner, and the father is Le'Veon Bell, who has been surpassed by his son, James Conner.
I like it. I don't know if all three of us agree, but I agree. I think James Conner is a great option.
I just like that despite the fact they're on different teams now, you still are pitting them firmly against one another.
I know you're on Bell's Team looking Conner. Back.
Yeah,
you
think Le'Veon Bell's not going to look at every single box score of James Conner?
He probably will do that.
Darn right he is.
And bring it. He's going to bring it to Adam Gase and say, James Conner got 7 targets this week. I got 3. What's going on here?
All right, so I'm going to bring up another former Steeler. And I'm going to say
take that.
I'm going to say...
Remember that Super Bowl? Now we'll get you.
Now who's laughing?
Antonio Brown is the Wizard of Oz. Because...
Wait, hold on. The Wizard?
He is the Wizard.
Okay.
In the Wizard of Oz. He's the Wizard of Oz. Here's how he's the Wizard of Oz.
Hold on.
Okay, let's just to make sure you get it.
Antonio Brown.
Right.
Wizard.
It's the same.
Oz.
But in Oz. All right, we're there.
Proceed.
So Antonio Brown, the Wizard of Oz, here's how. You've all seen the movie. The Wizard of Oz, this unbelievably powerful...
You know someone hasn't seen The Wizard of Oz.
If you haven't seen The Wizard of Oz...
What's wrong with you?
Yes, you need to do a little update on your movie watching time. So the wizard is this all-powerful, unbelievable being of magic that can grant any wish, and they're all there. I mean, he's just so good, just like Antonio Brown, right? The #1 wide receiver in football for so long. He's the best. But then eventually we get to look inside the curtain, and he's a crazy person. You peel back the curtain and you go, oh, this dude's just some maniac pulling levers, going nuts, talking out of his butt. That's
riding around in a hot air balloon.
Just riding around in a hot air balloon. Making crazy demands, right? Like, you bring me that witch's broomstick. You give me my old helmet. But here's the thing. Here's the thing for fantasy. In the end, even though the wizard was a crazy person, he got the job done. Dorothy got home. The lion got his courage. Tin Man has a heart, and the Scarecrow had a brain. I think Antonio Brown is a crazy person that's going to be just fine for fantasy football. He's going to get the job done. If he's dropping to your 3rd round, scoop him up.
That went from me thinking you were out on him to it coming all the way back around.
Well, I mean, fantasy-wise, he's
a very talented crazy person.
He's a very talented crazy. Just like the wizard.
Nothing to see here.
All right. Well, that was incredible.
You should have gone second, Andy.
I won't be able to follow it, but we're out here in Arizona. How did it feel outside today?
Felt like Adam Gase outside.
Whoa! Not safe for work, bro.
Not nice outside. If you're in Arizona, you spend 5 seconds outside, much less work out there, go for a walk, walk to your car from the mall. Whatever you do in Arizona, it's hot, you're thirsty, you're parched, you need a drink, you turn to your friend, you say, hey, toss me a refreshment. Aaron Jones is a frozen water bottle. Okay?
Should be good.
You know what it can do. You know that you want that thirst quenched. You want that refreshment for your fantasy team, but you can't do anything with it. maybe you wait a little
doing
while. Maybe you wait and you get a couple drops. Week 2, week 5, a couple drops here and there. Unlike my colleague, I don't find it a point in his favor that he's playing on the team that ran the ball the least of every team in football. And Matt LaFleur is supposed to be the savior, except for he's historically run the least amount of plays of any team in football over the last couple of years. I love Aaron Jones. I know the refreshment he could be for my fantasy team, but I'm afraid I'm not going to get it very often, here and there. But that's why I think he's a frozen water bottle.
Here's the thing about the frozen water bottle. Halfway through the day in Arizona, that's now a refreshing water bottle.
You're dead already. You're dead. You're dead. All right, let's get into the rest of the news.
News and notes from around the league, presented by Sleeper.
I mean, Foot Clan, we're with you on this Andrew Luck situation, all this breaking news. We knew 6 games tonight. We came in thinking that the headline was Kerryon Johnson lost his center for a couple of weeks for recent news. I don't normally have my phone out. I've got to have my phone out today because what else is going to happen?
Who knows what's going to happen?
Lamar Miller.
Yeah, in previous top headlines.
Yeah, Lamar Miller carded from Saturday's preseason game against the Cowboys. Left leg injury. Some of you have seen the replay. Some haven't. I wouldn't watch it.
It's bad.
It's not good. All indications, Adam Schefter came out, tweeted, they believe ACL tear. There are people that drafted Andrew Luck and Lamar Miller today.
And that's why we say draft as late as possible.
Yeah, I mean,
in your draft. Go ahead and wait till after week 3 of preseason to do your drafting.
but here we are. Lamar Miller, likely gone for the season. Houston, favorites in the division, even more so now. And what do? They have Duke Johnson.
They're lucky. ... Yes.
Oh.
Just so for the people at home listening, the Phoenix crowd are just yelling names of whoever they want to go to Houston. Melvin Gordon, Carlos Hyde,
LaShawn McCoy.
Someone yelled Andrew Luck.
Adrian Peterson should be out. Andrew Luck. They should just go get Marlon Mack because he's not doing anything.
Here's the thing. Duke Johnson's a pretty good running back.
Yes.
Him holding up, them turning the reins over to him permanently doesn't seem likely. But today, people are drafting. People are thinking about what Duke Johnson is for the rest of the season. I had a couple leagues where I took him with, last round pick, second to last round pick. Almost dropped him for somebody else. But now what is he for fantasy owners? And do you expect them to bring another name in like a Jay Ajayi?
They have to. They have to. Duke Johnson is not a big enough back
but
to
what
carry
about Josh Ferguson?
that load. Josh Ferguson.
What about Buddy Howell?
Just like Buddy Howell.
If you thought we weren't going to do that, you don't know the show very well.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, look, and Mary Tyler Moore's not getting it done either. So the reality is they have to bring someone in. Now, are they going to be able to trade for an Adrian Peterson? Everyone wants them to go get Melvin Gordon. Yes, that would be delightful. That would be awesome. The more that I think about it, I can't imagine that happening. They don't have a GM. They can make a trade like they traded for Duke Johnson.
You call Bill up.
But,
That's what you do. You call Bill and you say, hey, Bill.
Well, you get Sexy Rexy?
No, Bill O'Brien.
Oh.
He's the GM. He's
yeah, he is the GM.
He worked the Duke Johnson trade.
Right, but that they didn't have to restructure a contract.
Sure.
And right now, Melvin Gordon's contract is it's not been easy or going well to restructure. So I can't imagine them getting the deal done without a GM for Melvin Gordon. But I do think they have to bring someone in. Jay Ajayi. So when I look at Duke Johnson, he's someone you have to pick up. You have to draft if he's falling. Right now, he looks valuable. But I do temper my expectations because I think he can't be a guy that comes out and gets 230 carries.
Well, he's never had more than 104 carries, and that was his rookie season. He's never had more than 379 rushing yards. Now, that doesn't say that Duke Johnson can't do it.
Sure, look at Damian Williams.
Exactly. It just says that combined with their depth chart, they have to make a move. As a contending team, that their goal is the Super Bowl. Their goal is not, we hope we win the division. Their goal is to win the Super Bowl. They have to add a running back to this team.
They miss.
I'll
They
smack
miss
that.
Alfred Blue.
Oh, said no one ever.
That's the most likely outcome is somebody like Alfred. I mean, Carlos Hyde, Darwin Thompson, Darrell Williams, Damian Williams all played ahead of him tonight.
Yeah, Carlos Hyde's not making
He's probably
the team.
not going to make the roster. That's the kind of player that's going to come in and screw up high hopes for Duke Johnson with – I mean, they're willing to give Alfred Blue the ball.
But even
in
still
years
with that,
past.
as like right now, so this is Saturday night, Monday – it could be a way different thing, but right now, if I'm drafting tonight, I'm willing to take the 7th-round gamble on what Duke Johnson could be. I mean, we also know that pass catching is in his profile. Not that Deshaun Watson has historically passed to the running back very much, but we know that Cam Newton didn't pass to the running back very much till he had a guy who was fantastic at that. He had that skill set. So I'm still going to take the gamble of what Duke Johnson could be, even though in my heart, I believe that Carlos Hyde, Shady McCoy, Jay Ajayi, one of those guys is going to come in and kind of rain on the parade.
All right, we will talk more preseason thoughts from Week 3, the remainder of the games, some takeaways on our next show. 2 quick ones, though. I might as well hit this. D.D. Westbrook, John DiFilippo, the best route runner he's ever been around,
Oh,
Mike.
stop, John. Just stop.
Does it feel like he's actually complimenting you, Mike?
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit it does. The
So
timing of the breakout of D.D. Westbrook in that preseason game, they were something special.
Still feel very good about D.D. Westbrook.
Yes, I feel very confident that D.D. Westbrook is going to be a PPR machine.
Frank Gore rushed 8 times for 57
He
yards.
is infinite.
He is all.
He is Gore.
He is Gore. I mean, dude is 50 years old, playing running back. And here's what's crazy.
You know who doesn't lose that arm wrestling match?
Yeah, Frank Gore's never
Frank
loses to
Gore.
his son.
Frank Gore never loses.
If you didn't see the preseason game, he had this breakaway run. He looked great. He goes out of bounds. Another defender comes in, illegal flagged shot, murders his knee. Just looks exactly like Lamar Miller. The foot is kind of planted in the turf, and he has to go off. He's injured. 5 minutes later, he's back there looking like a beast.
Of course he is.
At 50.
Because he has the Infinity Stones. He's rubbed it on his knee, and he's good to go.
But it does.
But
it does bring up the point.
fantasy-wise, yeah,
for
is
fantasy
Frank
points.
Gore rosterable?
No, I don't think Frank Gore is rosterable, but it does say that Shady is looking very good. He is the clear back. Frank Gore appears to be the secondary option, which just throws a little bit of cold water for this season for redraft leagues on Devin Singletary breaking into fantasy relevance.
Fair enough?
Yep.
Same thoughts? All right,
Yes.
that was today's news and notes. Brought to you, as always, by the Sleeper app, which was almost completely destroyed
better
by
have
the
it.
Andrew Luck news.
You better have the Sleeper app.
Hey, Foot Clan, we want to thank longtime supporter and sponsor and maker of awesome razors, Harry's, for helping support the show. A lot of guys are traveling this summer, and you're buying disposable razors. But look, you don't have to sacrifice quality for price. You can join the 10 million who have traveled and tried Harry's. Harry's delivers high-quality, travel-friendly shave supplies at a great low price, just $2 per blade. They literally bought a factory in Germany just to make sure that they can manufacture it at a great price with a great blade. This summer, refresh your wallet and your face with a Harry's trial set. It comes with a weighted ergonomic handle for an easy grip, 5-blade razor with a lubricating strip and trimmer blade for a close shave, rich lathering shave gel that will leave you smelling great, and a travel blade cover to help keep your razor dry and easy on the go. Listeners can redeem your trial set at harrys.com/footballer. Make sure you go to harrys.com/footballer to redeem your offer and let them know that we sent you to help support the show.
Foot Clan would like to thank today's sponsor, Quip Toothbrushes. I have had a Quip toothbrush now for many, many a moons, and I love it. I'd never leave my house when I'm going on a trip. I always grab the Quip because when you go on a trip, you gotta get that Quip. Look, it's got timed sonic vibrations over an effective clean that's gentle on your sensitive gums in just 2 minutes, twice a day. They got a multi-use cover that works as a stand. It mounts to the mirror. I got my thing up on my mirror, my Quip. It's great. It's out of the way, looking nice. And the lightweight, compact design means you can bring it along with you on those last summer weekend getaways. And brush heads are automatically delivered on a dentist-recommended schedule every 3 months for just $5, making it easy to stay committed to your oral health. That's why I love Quip and why it's perfect for getting back into a routine. Quip starts at just $25, and if you go to getquip.com/footballers right now, you can get your first refill pack for free. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/footballers. And now back to the show.
But without further ado, our main segment.
Ridiculously bold predictions.
Now, when we say bold predictions, thank you.
I'm a little sad that Brooks didn't fly across the stage.
Oh, we got to rig him up for the next live show. Like a Peter Pan at a theater show, just have him crash.
This court's out of order.
Now, bold predictions, that means they're guaranteed to come true, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
That's what makes them so bold. That's why they will be reflected perfectly in our rankings. We'll get there, sir.
All right, who wants to go first with a ridiculously bold prediction for 2019?
I think the beginning of the end should start at the beginning.
We'll get there round two, but I'll kick it off.
Oh, okay.
I'll kick it off. Here we go. Juju Smith-Schuster. A star has been born, and he's going supernova. Just in a cool way, not in like a literal way.
Not the scientific way.
Not in the scientific way, because that would be like the end. But here's the thing. Juju Smith-Schuster finishes this season as the #1 wide receiver in fantasy football. See, here's the thing. Weeks ago, I was asking people, can I even do that? Because
Is that even legal?
I don't even feel like it's spicy. He has such good odds of finishing at the #1 wide receiver position. Here's how
Not so much Vegas odds.
I feel like when he was
based on the yardage numbers that I saw.
he was doing an Alex Rodriguez with the mirror. Is this a spicy take, Jason? No. And then he gave himself a smooch.
Yeah, you're darn right. High five and a little kiss on the mirror. Every morning, that's my routine. Here's the thing. Oh, first of all, there's a couple of reasons why I believe this. He has a quarterback that can do it. He has the targets, the touchdowns. Those 3 reasons are why he's going to be able to do it. Look at Big Ben. Big Ben, over the last 5 seasons, has averaged 4,800 yards and 32 touchdowns. That's his 16-game pace over the last half decade. Now, Antonio Brown is gone and crazy. He's gone. But remember his fantasy finishes. 4, 2, 3. These are his ranks on the season. 1. That means first. 6. He is obviously, everyone talks about Antonio Brown as the GOAT of this last decade. He is great. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Brown, but I am saying that Ben Roethlisberger factually can support a talented wide receiver to become the #1. We know that that's not up for debate. He's done it twice, and every year a top 6 option. So he's already got the quarterback in tow that can focus on him. Then you look at touchdowns, and this is really what it comes down to for me. If you want to finish at #1 in wide receiver, you have to have double-digit touchdowns. In fact, you're talking about 12.6 touchdowns per season over the last 5 years. Tyreek Hill, 2018, 12 touchdowns. Hopkins, 13 touchdowns. Jordy, 14 touchdowns. Antonio Brown twice, 10 and 13. And Demaryius Thomas, 14 touchdowns.
I miss you, Demaryius.
Yeah, I know, right? You have to score a bunch of touchdowns. So who can get that high? Who out there? Obviously Hopkins could do it. Devontae Adams can do it.
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill can do it.
Beckham, Evans.
Beckham might. Evans can get up there with touchdowns. But Julio, probably not. Michael Thomas, probably not. Antonio Brown with Derek Carr, probably not. Obviously, Juju could because of Big Ben. Juju had 7 touchdowns last year and was tackled within the 2-yard line 5 times. I mean, that's already 12, and now you have 15 vacated touchdowns from Antonio Brown. But I get it. You're like, well, he can't go up.
Oh, yeah!
Is that the Vance dance?
Yeah, the vacated touchdowns made me think of Vance.
I love it. He'll get his too. I'm not saying he gets 15 more touchdowns to Juju, but
why not?
But
It's the bold prediction show,
he gets
Jason.
22 total touchdowns. You heard it here first.
No, I know for a fact. I've been around you far too often. I've heard this percolating in you for months, where you just believe that Juju could end up number 1. Which is not something that I believe.
He's super delicious. He's super talented.
Super delicious.
He is super talented. And the thing is you go, well, he can't go up from last year. He had 166 targets. Where's it going to go? Well, Antonio Brown over the last 5 years averaged 181 target pace.
I see you wrote in here. So, yes, he can.
Thank you, Andy.
Was
I
that
just
to
wanted
me?
to make you
That
say
was
it.
to me.
Now you fell into the trap. You said yes, he can.
Don't forget to say, yes, he can.
That's right. So, yes, Juju Smith-Schuster, 2019 wide receiver, number 1 in fantasy
Okay,
football.
Mike, you're up.
Oh, all right. Austin Eckler finishes 2019 as a top 12 running back. Yes, someone drafted Austin Eckler, and we're on the same team. We all know the situation for Austin Eckler. Melvin Gordon, he's a little bit disgruntled. And here's the we don't know for sure how long can Melvin Gordon hold out contractually. It might be 8 games, it might be 10 games. Let's say that he holds out 10 games. The Los Angeles Chargers, at that point, maybe they're in the playoff hunt, maybe they aren't. But maybe a player comes back, and even though he can help the team says, screw you, you aren't coming back as the starting running back. You are now behind our starting running back,
That's
Austin
official
Eckler.
legalese. That's what they would put in the document.
I'm just taking the stroll down Narrative Street, man.
Yes.
The storefronts are lovely. You should join me every once in a while. Austin Eckler is a good player. Great pass catcher. 2nd in yards after the catch last year. 3rd in yards per reception. 5th in yards per target. Can the team, like that's the worry. Oh, if Melvin Gordon's gone, the Los Angeles Chargers, they're not good. Okay, games with Gordon, they average 27 points a game. How many points did they average in the 4 games that Gordon missed? 27 points.
Similar number.
The offense was fine. Games without Gordon, including the when Gordon went down with the injury, Eckler averaged 7.75 targets a game, almost 8 targets a game, 11 carries. You're talking 19 opportunities a game for Austin Eckler. He scored a rushing touchdown in 2 of those 4 games where Melvin Gordon was gone. Austin Eckler is the starting running back for this team. Sure, it could shake out that Justin Jackson eats in and now it's a 50-50 timeshare.
You're not banking on Eckler scoring anyway, right? I mean, that's not.
I am.
That's not the key to the pass catching volume. The touches
Yes.
for Eckler are far more important. You're not looking at him like LeGarrette Blount has to fall into the end zone to get value.
Right. We just did our top 10 tips and tricks, and I highlighted top 10 running backs.
Target.
They always have 50 or more receptions, and there's usually 2 wild cards who sneak in. Austin Eckler fits that bill. If Melvin Gordon is gone for the majority of the season, he will easily see more than 50 receptions. And it's not like this team with Phillip Rivers hasn't seen a small running back, a small stature guy, have success. You remember Danny Woodhead?
The Heartstone.
The original.
The original Heartstone.
Who just, at the end of the year, just kept popping up as a running back 1, and each year you go, well, why is Danny Woodhead here? Austin Eckler could be the new Danny Woodhead.
There are always a couple every year. James White, Tariq Cohen. Last year, Eckler with Gordon, 7 games inside the top 24. It's interesting. And the weird thing is if Keenan Allen, I mean, right now we think he's fine. People are drafting him like he's fine. But if that injury cropped up, you already lost Tyrell. Mike Williams isn't necessarily a volume type of receiver. No more Antonio Gates. It's interesting.
Then Eckler's seeing 10 targets again.
Bold, probably wrong, but very interesting.
Probably
We're
wrong.
here to be
Probably
bold.
wrong.
But
Yes.
it is spicy, and I love it.
All right, I'll give you mine. The Atlanta Falcons will have a player finish inside the top 12 at every single fantasy football position. In 2017, there were 2 teams that did it. Last year, 2 teams did it. It was Kansas City. It was Pittsburgh, right?
Correct.
Shout out to Big Ben again.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I've heard this prediction before.
Yeah, because you made it on this show last year, but you picked the wrong team.
You're picking
You
the
did
right-
more of like an 0 for 4.
Yes.
But the Falcons, I don't think anybody debates the merits of Matt Ryan being
do.
in the top 12.
I'm just saying, I do.
cannot stand for
I
your
can't-
Matt Ryan. Ugh.
12 of 16 weeks last year, Matt Ryan was in the top 12 finish on that week alone.
I'm told that's good.
Yeah, that's pretty decent because he
Jason.
finished the year at the top of the position. So I don't want to get into it. We don't got time for it.
Sure. You
We'll
talk.
deal with it in counseling. Julio Jones, you want to debate that one too?
No. He's going to be in.
So then you're really talking about Devonta Freeman, who's being drafted at RB15 right now, climbing into the top 12. You have to bank on health with Devonta Freeman, which is not – you don't really want to have to do that. But the last 2 times he had full 16-game seasons, he was well within that range. He was at 13, RB13, when he played a shortened 2017 season, 14 games, still finished at RB13. The competition behind Devonta Freeman is – it's almost as bad as it is behind Duke Johnson.
It's as bad as Ito Smith.
And I know you're not going to argue it.
No, we are with these 3. We're in lockstep.
Now the player.
Here's where it gets.
Yeah. Now you have to talk about Austin Hooper.
No.
Which is not fun to talk about.
No.
When Austin Hooper wakes up in the morning, he goes into his bathroom, and there's a picture of Jason Witten in the corner of the mirror. And that's a great aspiration, right?
Today, Witten. Today's the day.
It's crazy. Austin Hooper has been really, really Jason Whitney, as in fine, as in does enough throughout the season on a consistent basis to just kind of find himself in that top range. He actually has the best reception percentage of any tight end in football since the start of 2016, believe it or not. 77% of the balls thrown his way, he catches them. Last year, he had 6 weeks where he finished inside the top 7 at the tight end position. So it's never been sexy to play Austin Hooper, and it never will be. Just like Jason Witten. But I think he could climb his way in, so that's why I think the Falcons could have 4 of them in the top 12.
I think that's good. All right, now let's talk about a great prediction gone wrong. This would be my prediction last year. The beginning of the end for the New England Patriots. I apologize. The beginning of the end for the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots last year. So they did. They are the Super Bowl champions. So here's the thing as to why I say it's great. It's a great call. Okay,
I remember when
the victory lap.
I remember when you, Jason Moore, said that.
Yes. So here's the thing. The reason this whole thing started, every year I predict my fantasy team that I think is overdrafted and is going to bust for fantasy. In 2016, it was the Carolina Panthers. Cam and Kelvin Benjamin were going way too high. They both failed on the season. In 2017, Terrell Pryor, the Washington Redskins, you had Terrell Pryor, Jordan Reed, Jamison Crowder, Rob Kelly, all going 6th round and ahead. And they pretty much all busted that year. Last year was the Patriots, and because it was the Patriots, I took the narrative street that is the beginning of the end. Whoops! But for fantasy, Gronk was in the 2nd, Hogan was in the 4th, Josh Gordon was in the 4th, Brady was in the 5th, and Rex Burkhead was in the 6th. They busted. They were not good. So for fantasy, the bold prediction of you don't want to draft these players was right. And so my team this year, you will not like what I have to say.
You are correct. I don't like it.
People love this team, and I'm going to take a dump on it. The Cleveland Browns. So sorry, everyone's new sweetheart. But look, Andy, you said, right, the last couple years, there's only been 2 teams that have had a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end finish as a 1. Well, the Cleveland Browns right now are being drafted that way. I mean, Njoku, Baker, Chubb, and Beckham, they're all being drafted to finish as a 1. Now, is the Cleveland Browns, if for them to return value, the only way that they return value is that they are a great offense. And now I'm not saying they can't be a great offense. Like, I love Baker. This hurts me because Baker's just, dude, Baker would be such a cool best friend.
Yo, yes, he would.
I mean, I'm on Team Baker. But Baker's being drafted as the 4th quarterback. He has not proven anything yet. Odell Beckham is on a new team. And when I was going through the top 10 tips and tricks lists about avoiding risk in the first round, I realized that the last 2 years, the same guy's being drafted in the first round that's busted both years. It was Odell Beckham. He has not been a model of health. He's played fewer games than Sammy Watkins, and they were drafted in the same year. Nick Chubb is a great talent. He looks unbelievable. Kareem Hunt is coming back this season, and he played half of last season, and he was the running back 11. I'm just saying there's a lot more risk. Like, they are the sexy team. They are the anti-Austin Hooper. Like, everyone wants to get on board with the coolness of Baker, myself included. But as a fantasy analyst, I go, they haven't done it yet. They have a head coach that's unproven. They have an organization that is historically mismanaged.
They have a tough division.
Thank you. So I'm just saying, I think that the Browns are they're overpriced. They're
Beginning of the end.
So just so you're aware, figure out the Super Bowl bets right now and just
they might win the
throw
Super
it all
Bowl
on the Browns. Because maybe they'll win the Super Bowl and you'll be right.
If they win the Super Bowl, just wait for next year's team and bet big.
Bet the Cardinals over and over for my sake. All right, 2 more, and then we're going to do our live mailbag.
Speaking of Cardinals, we're in Phoenix, Arizona. 3. You should probably let me finish. We are 3 children of the Valley of the Sun.
Yes.
We are diehard Arizona Cardinal fans.
Sir Charles for life.
We wear it on our sleeve. I know that there's some other jerseys sprinkled throughout here, but you heard it. We are mostly in Arizona Cardinal country. We're very excited. We're very excited for the Arizona Cardinals. We're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm sorry to break it to everybody. And I have to preface my bold prediction with that because it kind of will hurt. It's interdivisional. Cooper Kupp is going to lead the league in touchdown receptions this year. Cooper Kupp has only played in 23 of the possible 32 games that he has been in, or since he's been in the league. And in that time, he has the 7th most red zone receptions, that he is 10th in broken tackles, and he is 6th in yards after catch of qualified wide receivers. Cooper Kupp is really freaking good. Last year, he basically played full snaps in 5 games. 5. He was on pace to score 12 touchdowns. He's on an unbelievable offense. He is the primary red zone option. In the last 2 years, Jared Goff has thrown 46 touchdowns in the red zone. That's the most in the league. 5.5 red zone attempts per game for Jared Goff. That's right there with Tom Brady, Andrew Luck.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yes. Rest in peace. And Patrick Mahomes.
Still so crazy.
It's real fresh. But here we are. We have to move on. Cooper Kupp, it's crazy for me to be endorsing this player who's coming off of an ACL tear. But 2019 is apparently just a wild year with Andrew Luck retiring, Emmanuel Sanders returning from an injury that nobody returns from, and Cooper Kupp entered training camp all systems go and has looked nothing but spectacular in camp.
Todd Gurley has 46 touchdowns in the last 4 years for the Rams, including 17 last year, 13 the year prior. if you believe in an adjustment to the offensive philosophy for his health's sake, then maybe you turn to Kupp, Everett. Cook's around the goal line, not necessarily a target.
Right.
So it's interesting, exceptionally spicy. The ACL tear has people afraid. You get Jay Glazer coming out and saying he looks better than ever before, which I have not normally said about an ACL tear, so it's interesting. How confident are you?
Well, it's the Bold Take Show,
I know.
so I'm like super confident. Unbelievably confident.
Number one in your rankings, confident.
Patriots,
Got it.
beginning of the end, confident.
One more. Yeah, that's super confident. Chris Carson ends the season as a top 5 fantasy football running back.
Hold on, wait.
A lot of cheers for Chris Carson, some boos. Okay.
People were like, yeah, we're kind of on board with Cooper Kupp, but running back in the division, yeah.
So when I look at Chris
Bunch
Carson,
of fair weather fans.
there are 2 players that I'm just insane excited about this year. Chris Carson's one of them. Sonny Michel is the other one. And now you can take them both at like 3rd and 4th round in a lot of leagues. So if you wanted to go wide receiver, you could. Is it a leap to say that Chris Carson could be a top 5 running back over the course of the season? Last year, number 7 in the league in total rushing attempts on the season, despite missing 2 games on the season. Number 5 in rushing yardage for the whole season. And all this speculation about what if he catches more passes? He seems to have a clear lead on Rashad Penny that has only grown over the course of this entire preseason. From week 11 on last year, so 7 full games to end the season, he averaged 19.4 carries a game on a team that runs more than anybody else. Your eyebrows, Mike, they just rose.
That's a lot of carries.
93 yards a game. That's a 311 carry pace.
Oh!
That's a 1,495 rushing yard pace. That's a 16 touchdown pace. He was the number 4 running back in that span behind like Saquon, McCaffrey, and then the great, wonderful Derrick Henry to end the year. So multiple times last year and this season where he did that, he wasn't even targeted at all. I mean, there were 5 different games that he played in where he had a lot of carries, never even got targeted.
But he's got the best hands on the
But
team,
yeah,
apparently.
I mean, the reports around that, all you need to do is pepper in 1 or 2 more targets, give him that kind of workload. You know what that team wants to do. So it's bold because he's being drafted as the RB18 right now by fantasy owners, but I think he finishes top 5.
How is DK Metcalf doing right now?
Poorly.
How is David Moore doing right now?
Poorly.
They're going to need to throw to someone other than Tyler Lockett. So I like this. And it
I
was
think
weird
it's-
to me, Andy. So you gave the from week 11 on, it was a decent enough sample size, and his pace.
Post-bye.
Right. It was a pace of 311. But if you actually look at it, it was week 3 when he took over
Yeah, he didn't
as
even-
the carry count. If you go from week 3 on, which is pretty much a season sample size, he was still a 312 carry pace. He's going to get an enormous amount of work. It's just a matter of, will he be involved in the passing game? If he
And
is,
stay healthy. But that's a
Well,
requirement
right.
for anybody to finish in the top 5. You've got to stay healthy. So I think that rounds out the bold predictions. I think we're going to get into the mailbag. I hope you're going to bring it. We're going to get the microphone set up, warm the voices up.
Final one of the year, Phoenix. Final mailbag drop of the year, Phoenix.
I don't know how prepared they are.
Did you hear him?
Get the lights.
It's the
Get the
final
house lights.
mailbag of the
Give me some
year.
house lights.
Thank you.
There are no house lights. Okay.
All right.
Someone call the fire marshal.
You guys ready? Here we go.
Mailbag.
Well,
That was just a calm before the storm. That was pretty good.
Acceptable.
First question.
All right, let's jump into the mailbag.
Oh, what a shirt.
Give us your
Hey.
name.
What's up, guys? John
Speak into the mic.
Styles.
Talking to Mike.
Yep.
John
Lift the mic up
Styles.
just a little bit.
Let's do it like that.
What's your name, buddy?
John Styles.
All right, what's up, John?
Styles.
So
Okay.
nice to meet you.
All right.
Likewise. We in my draft it's .04 point per yard, and so
Okay.
How I was trying to see how does that affect my rankings? How going in my draft tomorrow?
.04 point per yard. Are you talking about receiving and rushing, or are you talking about
Quarterbacks. Quarterbacks. It's .04 point per yard.
.04 point per yard. It doesn't change anything. Like, we get the question, quarterbacks get 25 points. Well,
Yeah, it doesn't change how you think of when you draft a quarterback, is what you're saying.
Yes.
It does realign quarterbacks.
Sure, but it's we get a point per completion. It just changes out who's at the top. It's not going to change your strategy because every single quarterback is going to drop back and they're going to throw the ball 20 to 25 times. I mean, that's why the streaming of the position is so viable. That's why every year over 40 quarterbacks hit a quarterback 1 week, and it's not like it's, what? Whoa, I never saw that coming. It's, no, the backup is at home, and he's playing against a garbage defense. We can all see it coming a mile away. Well, fantasy players, like NFL people out there, they're always shocked that these backup quarterbacks put up numbers. Meanwhile, fantasy players yeah, because that's what they always do. So it might change out.
Give me Matt Ryan.
I was going to say, Matt Ryan, Big Ben, it does change kind of the variance because quarterbacks, you talk about Matt Ryan bouncing back and forth. That's because of touchdowns, not because of yardage.
100%.
What, 8 straight years of 4,000 yards or whatever he has.
Yeah,
so,
you just rearrange the quarterbacks to focus on those that have a lot of passing. Or do you, Mr. Styles? Do you have an ultimate draft?
Shameless
Of
plug.
course.
Well, then there you go, dude. Just plug in your scoring system into the UDK, and we'll organize it for you.
Gotcha.
Next
problem solved.
question.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks a
Your
lot.
name is amazing.
Hi, guys.
How's it going?
Hi, I'm Linda Neville.
Nice to meet you, Linda.
I'm so excited to be here. My question is, on my Harry Potter League,
Nice.
due to a series of unfortunate circumstances, my first pick was number 24. What? So,
The sorting hat hates
It
you.
was the sorting, yes.
24!
So, is this a situation when you would pick a quarterback first, or what would your strategy be when that's your first pick?
No, it actually pushes me the opposite direction if that's your first pick because you're now at a lower tier of running backs and they run out quick. So I'd be looking to get the core. I mean, I'd have to go late round for the quarterback in that situation,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to stack running backs and wide receivers as much as you can for as long as you can because you know that at the very end of the draft, you can take a Josh Allen at quarterback and you'll be fine. Don't waste an early pick because you don't have him.
It wouldn't change. I know. I guess I was thinking you would say it wouldn't change it. It's just there was Mahomes, and all they had picked so far was running backs and wide
You
receivers
said
and Kelsey.
was. Has this already
This
happened?
is over. Yes.
This is
Did
already
you
so you
take
have
I'm
Mahomes.
looking to see how badly I
You took
failed.
Mahomes.
I do have Austin Eckler though.
This thing.
I got a whole bunch.
Were you seeking approval?
No.
Oh, okay.
So wait,
No,
hold on.
I knew I failed after I had clicked on
Not
it.
necessarily though. 'Cause I'd be curious
I
about.
understand. I understand it happening.
He's-
You have Austin
Cheers.
Eckler. What are your other running backs? Out of curiosity, in a league where you took Mahomes
I
one.
know I have Dede Westbrook. I can't remember my whole list of.
So you have Austin
of
Eckler.
players.
Okay.
I got a bunch of breakout picks from your kit, so I'm kind of excited about that. My son looked at it, thought it doesn't look too bad. So
Okay. Well, I mean,
Sweet.
honestly,
I hope one of the breakout picks that you did get,
Yeah.
which we just pulled tonight, was not Marlon Mack.
no,
Okay,
not
good.
having Marlon Mack.
Good.
So, by the way, it's awesome to have Patrick Mahomes. I think that gets
Yes.
lost
Sure.
in a sea of late round quarterback discussion. It's super cool. I had him last year in a bunch of leagues. I loved it. I was a big fan. The thing that gets, having a great quarterback is what you want in fantasy. It just puts you in a position where you need to hit on the later draft picks more consistently. And because fantasy football is so much variation, injury, and we talk about stacking running backs, stacking wide receivers to protect against injury, to protect against variance. It just puts you in a position where you have to hit on them later. It doesn't mean that you failed the draft to have Patrick Mahomes. It means you got the best quarterback in football.
Yeah.
And if
win the
I'm-
waiver wire.
If I was in that position, the draft that may or may not have
'Cause
happened.
it could happen again. I'm,
Yeah.
you know.
The hypothetical
I'm picking
draft.
that late. Honestly, I'm stacking up wide receivers early because the wide receivers going in that range, they're going to produce. Maybe you hit on one or two of them and they jump into that elite category, but that the running backs later on, they gain value as the season goes along. You see it happen because of injury. So I'm gonna because I don't have early picks, I'm going to take the more sure thing to know that I'm scoring points every week.
And make sure that the Tony Pollards, Justin Jacksons, that none of them are on the waiver wire right
Matt
now.
Breida.
Right.
Because you could scoop them up and have a starting running back week 1.
Right.
right.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You're
welcome.
so welcome, Linda. Next question.
Oh,
up,
here comes a man-eater.
What's up?
For those who can't see, he's wearing a Hall & Oates shirt.
I thought that was something for just like really tall people. We're man-eaters or something. I didn't know what that meant.
I can't go for that.
The one Hall & Oates song he doesn't like, I referenced. I'm sorry.
My question: how do you guys' families feel about fantasy football? Like, do your kids play it? Your wives play it? Do they like it?
That's a great question because today,
What timing?
today, both my boys who are here drafted their first
up, boys?
teams. They drafted their first teams, and much like Linda, I let them find their way through. Aaron Rodgers in the first, Patrick Mahomes in the second for one of them. But no, I mean, I think they've rallied around it. One of the things that we love about fantasy football is the fact that it can be very inclusive of the family if you make it that way. You know, when we started the show, it was about, hey, how do you not just win, but have fun and create a league that's fun with great people, and that includes like not running off to the basement to watch football while your family does something else. I mean, so it's been very fun for them. Obviously, I get paid to do fantasy, so it's changed my wife's perspective from what it was before I did this. But no, it's been good for our family.
My wife, my children right now, they currently don't participate. I don't think my wife will never participate in fantasy football. So if you're out there and you've got someone like that, I highly recommend starting a successful fantasy football podcast. Because, honey, I'm working.
My wife, I've convinced her one time to join a fantasy football league. I managed the crap out of that team.
How'd she do?
She did very well.
Awesome. All right, thanks, Hall & Oates.
Thank you,
very
sir.
much.
Next question.
Hello, sir. State your name.
Dan Kerber.
Hey, Dan.
What's up, Dan? How you
Nice to
doing?
meet you, Dan.
So nice to meet you guys. All right, my question is, what strategy adjustments do you make for a massive redraft tournament like the Megala Bowl?
Oh, insider trading.
How do you think about a big tournament like that?
You gotta.
You think
You play to win, and when I say that, it sounds ridiculous, but you got to win your league. But then at the end, you're going to have to be putting up so many points. And so I'll just give you one quick tip. We talk about on the show, we don't like handcuffing, number one, because it's unpredictable. There are some that are, though. Dalvin Cook. I'm fairly confident that Alexander Madison will be his handcuff if something were to happen to Dalvin Cook. If I draft Dalvin Cook in that league, I'm not drafting Alexander Madison. I'm drafting Chase Edmonds. I'm drafting Malcolm Brown. I'm drafting guys that if something works out against those players, now my team transforms from great to incredible. You have to stack up those players that can really turn the nitro on halfway through the year.
Yeah, and there's players like Leonard Fournette, guys that, look, you always say they would be great if they stayed healthy, but that's why they're cheaper in the draft. Look, the only single person, I think we're up to 4,500 people in the Megala Bowl right now. You can get in at jointhefoot.com for another week. But your team is going to be healthy. Like the winner's team, congratulations.
Right.
They drafted healthy players and they didn't deal with a bunch of wacky injuries like you can deal with that in a league of 12. You can't deal with that in a league of 4,500.
Yep. Fair enough.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Final question.
Oh, I know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
What's
up, ballers?
Do you know what that means?
That means you won.
What's your name first?
My name is Ricardo Harding.
Hello, sir. Nice to meet you.
Ricardo is the winner of the
Of the
sign.
David Johnson.
Well, you teased it so soon. You didn't let us break the news. That's on you.
That's not on me. Thank you to Pristine Auction.
I'm just happy he's
for
not
providing
wearing a
it.
Seattle jersey like the last 10 things we've given away.
Ricardo, what is your favorite NFL team?
But before you talk, sir.
Eagles.
Oh, come on.
Hey, hold on.
I love Wentz and I love Miles Sanders.
Remember when David Johnson broke out against the Eagles? That was pretty freaking awesome.
It was so great. We've got a signed picture in our studio of that moment.
But just a word of wisdom. Microphones pick up your mouth, so the gum, you might want to hold that back.
Oh.
But your question's good, sir.
So my question is, in regards to preseason, which backfield has scared you the most?
Oh, that's a great
Scared
question.
us the most.
That's a great question.
Well, for me,
Falcons?
no.
Well, you talked about the offensive line.
The offensive line
concerns, yeah.
scares me a lot. I actually think that's more towards Matt Ryan than Freeman. Freeman's a great pass catcher. He can leak out and is a great pass protector, so he's going to be in. This is just selfish, purely, blood pressure related. But it's the Lions, right? Like, I've got so much riding on this. I'm like, oh, no. Oh, yes! I mean, I'm so invested in Kerryon Johnson. Perfect example here. So, like, today, the news, the Lions
Had a preseason game.
They had a preseason game.
Played some football.
And I saw a tweet that was talking about how Matthew Stafford was out there for 32 snaps, and the snap breakdowns, Kerryon Johnson had 8, and C.J. Anderson was like 22, and Ty Johnson was out there a bunch. And so I'm like, oh crap. Honest to goodness, no joke. C.J. Anderson was almost my, today, the analogy, he was going to be beets, like the vegetable, because I hate them. But then I went and I watched the game, and what happened is
he doesn't need beats.
He was he was early in the game. He was first. He was in on a couple third downs, and then they pulled him, and he never got back on the field. So that's great news. But that one's been stressing me out. I've been worried. What about you guys?
Well, Tampa Bay's backfield looks atrocious. I mean, we were watching the game the other day, and it was like, okay, if a player lost 3 yards on the carry, it meant it was Peyton Barber. If the player lost 5 yards on the carry, it meant it was Ronald Jones.
Right.
Yeah.
So that backfield concerns me tremendously because we're trying to scrape and find value, especially with Bruce Arians, and I don't know if you got the player that can do it.
Sure, and
on the team.
I'll throw out Chicago because they aren't playing. They're giving us nothing. They're not giving us the insight into, okay, we can actually have the freak out that David Montgomery got the first 8 snaps, and then it was Mike Davis and Tariq Cohen. They aren't pulling a Wizard of Oz and showing us behind the curtain. So that's
you get skittish about that.
it's a little sketchy. Well, you're paying a 4th round, maybe a late third round
yeah.
pick for David Montgomery. So that's the backfield that has me a little squeamish.
The other one that's less selfish, just from what I've seen, that has me a little worried, would be the Bengals with Joe Mixon. Their offensive line has looked as bad as advertised or as worried with the injuries. The amount of offensive miscues and holdings, and like it's either they have a successful run because there was holding on it and it gets called back, or they didn't hold, so Joe Mixon has nowhere to run. That's concerning. That's like what we saw with Todd Gurley a couple years ago when he went from his rookie year and he was great. The next year he had nowhere to run, and everyone's calling him a bum.
All right, congratulations on the big win, even though you're an Eagles fan.
Enjoy your signed David Johnson helmet. Thank you, Pristine Auction.
That is going to wrap up this episode of the show. Again, big shout out to Pristine Auction, our studio sponsor, our tour partner. If you haven't checked out Pristine Auction, head over there, pristineauction.com. And again, a big thanks to St. Jude. This is the wrap up of the whole tour. This is it. Back home. Football is starting. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, Phoenix, so much.
And if you're listening at home, we'll see you on Tuesday. Hope you crushed your draft. I'm sure you did. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
thank you for listening to another edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Don't forget to visit us on the web at www.thefantasyfootballers.com and follow us on Twitter at the FFBallers.
All right, today's episode was brought to you by Head & Shoulders and Walmart. No matter where you fall on the offense and defense debate, Head & Shoulders will give you a 100% flake-free scalp. I say it's offense, Mike.
I say it's defense.
Did you know that Troy Polamalu's hair was insured for $1 million by Head & Shoulders in 2010? Check out Head & Shoulders at Walmart.com, or you can look and find it at your local Walmart store.